I want to talk about a slogan that has acquired a certain almost mainstream status on the right. It's a slogan that goes back to Andrew Breitbart. And it is the slogan that politics is downstream from culture. That's the slogan. Politics is downstream from culture. Now, what does this mean? Well, it means that cultural change precedes political change. That cultural change comes first and then causes the political changes that flow from it. And this is intended typically as a kind of admonition or even a critique of the Republican Party and of conservatives who tend to focus a lot on politics. And in fact, this is pretty normal. Typically, when I am raising money for films, I go talk to potential investors. They're used to putting money into campaigns. They're used to giving to candidates, but they're like, what is the purpose of these films? What do these films actually accomplish? And of course, it's very much in my interest to say, politics is downstream from culture. In other words, that if we can shape American culture and American mores and values and American public opinion, then surely the American people will vote for the right candidates and will choose the right policies, and the rest of it will kind of follow. Now, as I say, there's a good deal of evidence going for this, and perhaps the best example I can think of to support the point that politics is downstream from culture is the issue of gay marriage. So the American public, going back, 2 or 3 decades, was by and large pretty ferociously against gay marriage. In fact, gay marriage had only a small sliver of popularity. Even Democratic candidates stayed away from that topic. They would say, we believe marriage is between a man and a woman. I believe Clinton said that. Obama even may have said that as late as 2008. And then things changed. But how did they change? Well, perhaps the earliest political assault or cultural assault came from the left. The left began to attack the idea of the traditional family and also to present gay couples and gay marriage in a kind of very positive and a very humorous and a likable way. And really this goes back to Ellen coming out of the closet. Think of all the various sitcoms featuring gay characters in the 80s and 90s. They're always funny. They're always, they make you chuckle. They're just so nice. And by and large, public attitudes began to soften toward the idea of gay marriage. And you also had advocates, by the way, say things like marriage is going to help kind of civilize the gay community. Marriage is going to help domesticate gay relationships and make them less wanton, less promiscuous, and so on. And so you have a cultural shift that comes first. And then suddenly big changes in the sense that the Supreme Court legalizes gay marriage, in fact, declares gay marriage to be a right enshrined in the Constitution. And so states are not even in a position now to make laws that restrict gay marriage. So again, politics, and in this case, politics refers not just to legislation, but also to law as defined by the Supreme Court, rights as confirmed or asserted by the court, is downstream from culture. Cultural change first, and then the laws change subsequently. But, and this is a big but, as I think about this phrase, and as I mentioned, it's frequently bandied about when I talk about films and the impact of films in the culture, there is another side to it. And it's not just another side, it's the opposite side. One could just as easily say that culture is downstream from politics. Politics comes first, which is to say legislation and law and policy and Supreme Court decisions come first, and then public opinion changes in response to that. And here I can give several examples, but I'll start with the example of Brown v. Board of Education. Think of the landmark Supreme Court decision that produced school desegregation. The decision came first. And then, by and large, the public support for desegregation, for ending all these segregation laws, essentially went to 100%. There was virtual unanimity among the American people that segregation is a bad idea and desegregation is the way to go. But it was not so clear before the Brown decision that the court would decide that. The court went first, and then public opinion followed. In a strange way, even the gay marriage issue illustrates how culture is downstream from politics. When the Supreme Court asserted gay marriage as essentially a fait accompli, a done deal, a constitutional right, notice what happened. Public resistance to gay marriage essentially became very marginal, became very small. Churches stopped speaking out against it. The center of the culture moved dramatically. So yes, I guess what I'm saying is that cultural shifts produced the Supreme Court decision, and then the Supreme Court decision itself produced a further liberalization, if you will, a further acceptance, a further tolerance, a further I've got no problem with that attitude toward gay marriage. So in summary, what I'm saying is that, is it true that politics is downstream from culture? Yes, it is sometimes, maybe even often true, but it is also true, and just as often, that culture is downstream from politics.